Oh, so I've got the circle of death going on. Oh, here we go. We're live. Hello, everyone. Hi, Fiona. You win, and Kay, and Rod, and Luca, and I don't speak German either. Guten Tag, meine Frau und Herren. That's about as good as it gets. Bit of Schadenfreude. Excellent, Fiona. Hello, Kay. I think I said hello, Kay, already. David, g'day. Dan and Paige are here. Hello. Hello, everyone. I've got extra audience members who are about to... Hello, Emily and Kevin. How you going? I wasn't sure how many people would be joining. We've got 9 so far, Beck. You'd be interested to know. Oh, who's that? Jeff and Sue. Hello. Cotty and John, g'day. I had a minute ago 2 dogs gazing up at me lovingly because I've got some beautiful schnitzel here. Little mini, it's chicken schnitzel because that's what we had. But Peter's cooked it up beautifully for me and done, look what he's done with the lemon. Isn't that classy? Very classy lemon. Guten Abend. Ja. Shell, Andrew. Guten Abend. That's about as good as it gets from me, but I do the accent very well, so it sounds like I almost know what I'm talking about. Hello, Rita. How are you going? So I have this bottle of Gruner Veltliner, the Stift Gutweg Messwein, which I'll tell you about in a minute. I also have the stud creams, but I haven't put that in the fridge. Although it's so cold and miserable outside, I'm quite tempted to open the room temperature wine rather than the cold wine today. Had to feed the dogs. Fair enough, Rita. You're not late. You're just right on time. Okay, let's get this wine open and then we can start talking about it. My family is drinking Pinot Noir over there because Beck and Willow came for a dog walk at the last minute in the rain. So it wasn't a very good dog walk. Oh, my God. Hope that was schnitzel, Rita, for the dogs. All right, wine in glass. So I love this wine for so many different reasons. Gruner Veltliner as a grape variety, we will talk about in a minute. This wine, when my tasting group went to Austria in 2019, or was it 2019? It was, yep. We went to Stift Gutweg. It's actually, they make 2 different brands in the same place. But this wine has been made traditionally on the property for hundreds of years. I want to say almost 1,000 years, because it used to be a monastery, and this wine was their entry level. This is their entry level Gruner Veltliner. It's called Messwein. It was the wine that they made for Mass, and it was the wine that they made for the monks to drink with their meals. And it was, and it's continued to be made today. And I think the packaging's lovely. It's got a little cherub on it. I think the name is cool. Stift Gutweg. You've got to love that. It's Gruner Veltliner. It's got the angels on the capsule as well, but most importantly, it's delicious. So let's talk about Gruner generally while we have a sip on this wine. As I said, it's cold and wet here. Okay, Pete. I haven't bothered to decant this wine. I don't think it needs decanting. And I think someone who just said that, Fiona said it smells a bit like pears, and I agree. It smells quite a lot like pears. Emily, sorry, I'm losing track. Hello, Alison. How you going? Emily couldn't find the ones I recommended. Got Domaine Wackow, Gruner Veltliner from Dan's. I actually meant to say in my email on Tuesday that that's the other one I would recommend. So, and quite a lot of you have got it. It's not terribly expensive. A lot of you have got the Domaine Wackow Gruner Veltliner. We also went to Domaine Wackow. It's a fantastic place to visit. And the wine is delicious. So we're looking at fairly similar price points, fairly similar quality Gruners from, they're from different producers. They're being brought in by the same importer, and so there's a stylistic similarity between this wine and the Wachau, Domaine Wachau wine. So Gruner Veltliner for me was a grape variety that it took me quite a long time to get my head around. And also there'll be people, some of you will be drinking Australian Gruners, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. But I'm going to talk about classic Austrian Gruner Veltliner first, because I think that the good Aussie ones are sort of trying to understand the ripeness levels of Gruner and work out when to pick it and how to make it and that kind of thing. So the cap does have an Austrian flag on the top, Dan, and we will talk about that in a minute as well. David is drinking weekend wine. I don't understand. Okay, so there's lots of comments from people. I will. Fiona's saying it's not terribly expensive. It's not terribly expensive. I thought that was a good reason to do this. You can buy very expensive Gruner, but so a lot of Gruner out there is sort of the second grape variety in Austria. Gruner is the second grape variety to Riesling. So Riesling is seen as the important, special, long-lasting, serious grape variety, and Gruner is kind of second rung traditionally to the Riesling. It's made to be drunk a little bit earlier. It ripens a bit more easily than Riesling. It's not taken as seriously as Riesling, and so therefore it's sort of easier drinking style. So for me, and it's interesting because Dan was talking about comparing it to a wine from Alsace, which I think you meant to do the Pinot Gris, didn't you, Dan? Because for me, I think that Gruner Veltliner in Austria is very similar to Pinot Gris in France and Germany. It's got a slightly softer texture to it. It's a little bit less edgy. It's got lower natural acidity. It's readier to drink earlier, and it's a bit more approachable than a lot of the Austrian Rieslings, in the same way that a lot of Alsace Pinot Gris are more approachable than the Alsace Rieslings. Okay, so that's okay. You can do that again next time. So Alison's, what did Alison? I'm losing track of what people are saying. Alison, Andrew just said bubblegum from his long ago Austrian experiences. Rita's getting mineral tinge on her tongue. Absolutely. It's definitely a bit minerally. Alison's not sure. Kay's had a very pear nose when she had a restaurant last week. It was way too cold. Yeah, absolutely. So I pulled this out of the fridge because I put this in the fridge because it was so steamy yesterday. So I put it in the fridge yesterday morning, and then this morning it was cold. So I pulled this out of the fridge over an hour ago, and it's just warming up to room temperature, which is not very warm, but it's a good temperature for it to be. Again, I think we have talked a lot about the fact that we serve white wine too cold in Australia and red wine too warm. And I think that Gruner Veltliner is a very good example of that. If you serve it too cold, it's very neutral. Pinot Gris, Pinot Grigio as well. If you serve it too cold, it's very neutral and not very exciting. Shell and Andrew are having dips and a delicious seeded baguette for it. I think that's a good idea. Alison, I don't think it does need a gorgeous sunny day, but it would have been good on a sunny day, a little bit colder. But it's got this lovely pear fruit character, which is very similar to Pinot Gris. But then it's also, so your classic descriptors for Gruner Veltliner, and I covered myself in glory when I was in Perth the other week because I was invited along to a Sommeliers Australia tasting group, and they had 2 wines on tasting, and the white wine that they had, people were calling it Chablis or Pinot Gris, and I said, guys, I think what we're looking at here is possibly a Gruner Veltliner, because it's got a similar pear fruit line to it that's similar to Pinot Gris, but it's also got a little spiced green lentil kind of note to it. It's also got a almost green, but also a little bit like a candied pineapple note on the nose, sort of underripe, overripe pineapple at the same time, which is very typical for Gruner Veltliner. And when you put it on your palate, it has on the finish this really interesting little kind of chili, kind of fruity spiciness. It's not hot with alcohol, but it's got a chili spice to it. So have a little taste of it and think about that and see if you can see that in your Gruner. It tends to be made very simply, either in old neutral big oak in Austria or in more modern cellars in stainless steel. They don't want to make it. They don't want to make it too complex, because it's not a grape variety and it's a sort of a semi-aromatic grape variety. So it's not like Gewürztraminer or Riesling in that it's very, very aromatic, but it's also not like Chardonnay in that it's got more fruitiness to it naturally. I am getting a real kind of green pineapple-y kind of a note on the nose and on the palate. Shell's talking about Whiz Fizz. Fee's talking about pink and green toffee apple lollies, absolutely. Kay's matched it to green chicken curry because of a spiciness to it. And Fiona's talking about sherbet. And I think all of those characters are sort of alike what I'm talking about. Jeff and Sue are talking about a spiciness like apple or pear tart. The Wackow is tingly and meaty. So Shell, I reckon you've probably eaten your fair share of green lentils in your time. Do you get, and I think probably quite a lot of you have, but Shell and Andrew in particular, being slightly more on the vegetarian bent, do you get a little bit of a green lentils cooking kind of a character coming through on the wine? Because that's a really classic. I can't remember which. I think you're having the Domaine Wackow, so I'm not drinking that, so I can't say for sure and mustard, but certainly this wine has got a little bit of a green lentil as they're sort of cooking or just cooked, with a little bit of spice but not too much. There's a really lovely kind of oily textural character to the wine as well, which is what I mean. It doesn't have high acid. It's got a tanginess to it, and it's got that little bit of spicy kick on the finish, which I think is the same as your, a little bit of curry leaf flavour in it as well, Fee. Absolutely. I think it's really beautifully complex. I think it's very, very cool. Oh, Michael, hello. Michael's about to launch a new drug for Alzheimer's here in Hong Kong, so need to stay sober. Excellent. Well, you'll have to have a Gruner later on, Michael. Whiz Fizz, but without the sherbet, Dan's saying. So there's this kind of lolly shop, almost like those pineapple cubes, those sort of foamy pineapple cube things that I think they're from New Zealand. But there's definitely a pineapple flavour, but it's almost a fake pineapple flavour, as well as all those other savoury things. Really, really interesting. I agree, Cotty, there's some honey there, but it's also a honey texture. It's got that sort of glycerol honey kind of a texture to it. Really delicious. Shell's getting the lentil-y character now, and I think, if you're making a dal or an Indian veg curry that's not too spicy, Gruner Veltliner is a really good match to it. Now I'm going to put a little bit of lemon on my schnitzel, because it'd be rude not to. I'm having chicken schnitzel. Traditionally in Austria they would have veal schnitzel, but we don't eat veal in this household. Certainly not when Jill's around. Thank you, Peter. That's delicious. Nice and crunchy. Good chicken flavour. A little bit of lemon. And the Gruner does a really lovely, Fee and David are having chicken schnitty as well. the crunchiness of the bread coating, the nice soft chickeny flavour, the little bit of lemon works really well with those lentil-y notes, and then that lovely tangy pineapple-y note as well on the palate. So Gruner Veltliner was a great variety that I really struggled with for a long time while I was studying for my MW, and then I went to London. And one of the tastings I went to in London, because when I was studying, I'd go to London for a couple of weeks and stay with my London friends and cook them dinner every night, so I didn't have to pay for a hotel. But I'd take myself off into town and I'd go to whatever tastings were on. And in London, there's usually at least one, two, or three fairly significant tastings on pretty much every day of the year. So I plugged into the wine tasting calendar that they publish for wine professionals in London, and one of these days I went to an Austrian Gruner Veltliner tasting, and it was like a hall, like the old Melbourne Town Hall in Carlton. It was that big, full of producers just pouring their Gruner Veltliner, and I was like, oh my God, if I can't work out what Gruner Veltliner tastes like today, then I'm never going to get it. And I walked around and tasted a whole lot of wines and talked to producers and understood that Gruner Veltliner, like Pinot Gris, is very different depending on when you pick it, how long you leave it to ripen, and what sort of crops you have on the vine as well. So you can make a Gruner Veltliner that is slightly overcropped, that's picked early, and it's crisp and low flavour and easy drinking. And I think that probably in the past, this wine would have been more like that and less like it is now, because now it's got lovely concentration. It's still not super ripe, because the really ripe, serious Gruners, and probably the most famous serious Gruner out there is the FX Pichler Gruner, which I've had the joy of drinking a couple of times, and I think they sell it at the Prince Wine Store. I think they had it on their website. That's quite expensive, particularly compared to these, which should have cost you less than $30, I reckon. But the fancy serious Gruners are much lower crop levels on the vines. The vines are older, in the same way that for all grape varieties, if you've got older vines and you've got smaller crop levels, then you tend to get more concentration of flavour. But they tend to let them ripen for longer as well. And so you get softer acidity, but more weight and more richness, and less of the green lentil-y character, and more sort of chili spiced pineapple in the richer, riper styles. So it's almost always a dry wine. They don't tend to make an off-dry wine from this grape variety. The Austrians are not really into off-dry wines in the way that the Germans and the French in Alsace are. You either in Austria get super dry wine or highly botrytized, or very, very sweet ice wine. So in between. Trocken means dry, Fee. So that's easy. So they're letting you know that it's a dry wine. I do mean the Royal Exhibition Building in Carlton, Peter McIntyre. Thank you, architect man, building man. In the city, Melbourne, it could be Melbourne Town Hall as well, but I did mean the Royal Exhibition Building. You're right. Thank you. You understood what I was talking about. Many wouldn't. They worked it out. Thank you. I'm glad I have my family to translate for me. You should see Polly. She's begging for chips at the moment, and Jill is giving them to her. I'm going to have a little bit more chicken schnitty. Yum. This is dry, Alison. For those of you who are drinking this wine, it's dry. But if you're drinking the Domaine Wachau from Dan's, that's also dry. I can't speak for the Australian versions, because sometimes they have a little bit of residual sugar just to kind of boost the fruitiness. Okay, Kate, the spelling of the premium Gruner that I mentioned, it's FX, so those two letters, and then Pichler is Pichler. Pichler. No, there's no S. It's just the German pronunciation. Does a Pichler. P-I, there might be a C in there. P-I-C. Yeah. I can send it to you later if I've confused you. But I love Gruner in the same way that I love Pinot Gris, that it's sort of an underrated wine style. And I think now that I've got it stuck in my head what it can do. Also, Kay, I'll give you another tip. If you Google Gruner Veltliner, if you go into the Prince Wine Store website and select Gruner Veltliner from Austria, I think they've only got 3, and one of them is the Pichler, so you'll be able to find it pretty easily. I'm not sure where else you can buy it from though, because it's not a lot of it comes into the country. I love this grape variety for lots of reasons. I love it because it took me a long time to work it out, and now that I feel like I have worked it out, then I feel like I've sort of, done the work, got there. But also, as I said, yeah, that's right, Kay. That's exactly right. I like it because I think it's very food friendly, and I could have given you all sorts of food matching options, but to be perfectly honest, it's been quite busy here at Moorooduc in the winery and around the office. So I thought, seeing as how we are, keep on trucking, thank you, Peter. Seeing as how we're doing a kind of breakout week this week, then I thought that you could kind of go a bit rogue on the food matching and it would be okay. No worries, Kay. It's a nice opportunity to catch up. It's a nice opportunity to open something delicious. And when you threw me the challenge, I was absolutely up for it. So yeah, I think these wines go very, very well, as I said, with lentil-based dishes and chickpea-based dishes as well. So work really well with not too spicy Indian food generally, particularly vegetable curries and that kind of thing. Works very well with your classic schnitzel and chips, or schnitzel and dumpling sort of noodles. It works really well with a really nice roast chicken and roast vegetables. It's great with fish and chips, even though it doesn't have huge amounts of acidity. It's got that lovely tingle to it that works really well with that as well. And it's nice with anything that you can drink a Pinot Gris with. So, a good cheese platter, great with sort of quiche things, that sort of stuff. So, yeah. What cheese? Thank you, Rita. I was waiting for you to ask me what cheese I would match to this. And I would say I don't know much about Austrian cheese. So the Austrians may have a perfect match cheese-wise for this, but I would suggest, like as with a Pinot Gris, I would suggest a really nice ripe washed rind, slightly stinky cheese. You could match it to something as strongly flavoured as a Munster. You could match it with an Edam or that sort of thing. Gruyere would probably work with it, but yeah, something soft and a bit stinky I think would be nice. Emily's having it with taramasalata dip and cauliflower crackers, and it seems to work. Good, excellent. Sonia, hello. Your chicken salad with lemony herby dressing with some pesto pasta is, yeah. So fantastic with cheesy pasta kind of dishes. Fiona's thinking onion tarts, and that would be amazing. In fact, I'm having a craving to make caramelized onion and anchovy focaccia, which is sort of my take on a pisse saladière. But without the olives, just with the caramel, make a focaccia, top it with caramelized onion and some really good anchovies and bake it. That would be amazing with this. It would be, I think it would even work with some quite mild blue cheese if you wanted to have a bit of a play. as it opens up, it becomes a little more floral, I think, and the honey comes up, but you've still got that lovely little chili tang on the finish of it, which I think is really unusual. Fiona's got Annie Smithers Alsatian onion tart recipe. Oh, that would be great. Thank you, Fee. I think that would be delicious with it. Dan's having it with good quality plain potato chips, crisps, as we say in England. The saltiness adds to it. I can imagine that either hot potato chips or crisps from a bag would be really good with this wine. It's just a really yummy fat and potato and salt kind of a wine. That sounds really basic, but it does. It works really well with lots of things. If you think Austrian, they like a lot of dumplings and potatoes and white meats covered in bread. Even a nice salty pretzel would be good. I know, Dan, I do the same thing. I call them crisps when I'm writing about them and chippies when I'm talking about them. Rita is saying under $30 is a terrific price point for this wine. Why is it so affordable, especially when it's been imported from Austria? Well, these guys make a huge amount of this wine, and it's their entry-level wine. It's very good quality entry-level wine, but also Austrian wine in the last 50 years has gone through some very difficult times. It was in the 1980s, I think, that Austrian wine was found to be having, because Austria is a country that is quite cool, despite the fact they get a lot of sunshine. And a lot of, Sonia raced up to Park Hill Cellars and grabbed it, too cold, for $26.99. Perfect. And Kay is also saying the EU tariffs have been removed now, which is wonderful, so we can sell more wine to the EU and the EU can sell us wine. I don't think it'll get cheaper, Kay, because, excuse me, got some chicken stuck in my teeth. We have had the tariffs removed, 5% tariffs removed, beautiful, but getting the wine here, fuel's much more expensive thanks to a certain war that seems to be going on at the moment. Also, fuel is expensive. Also, the ships have to go around the long way at the moment. So there's a lot of expense sort of piling on. It means that the reduction of the tariff will reduce the pressure to make the wine more expensive. So I think we will have, Pete's gone for a second packet of chips. Can I have some? They're over there. Pete thought that the Jura flavoured Brett's might go well with it. Thank you. What did you have? The Brie? The Camembert? Yeah. Yum. So the Jura flavoured Brett chips work pretty well, but I think the chicken works better. Go for it. What else are people saying? Sorry, I've lost track of things. I think I've. Cuddy said great excuse for having schnitzel. Oh, sorry, I just lost you. Lost your comment. Great excuse for schnitzel. Haven't had it in ages. Forgotten how yummy and perfect with the wine. And schnitzel's so. I made these chicken crispies the other week for my niece Maddie, who came to stay with me. It's one of the things she really loves, and I never make them for myself. And it's a bit fussy, putting the chicken or the meat into the flour and then the egg and then the crumbs. But then you just fry it, and it's so delicious, so good. Sonia is asking whether the taste of pineapple means does it go with pineapple forward dishes? That's a great question, Sonia. I don't think so, but a really good test of this wine would be to try it with a Hawaiian pizza, which some people, I believe, love. But I think if you think about what pineapple offers us, and that's a high acidity, and this wine's not high acid, but there's a tangy tropical fruitedness to it. So if you think about the things that pineapple goes well with, and I'm thinking of pineapple with a gammon steak, pineapple with bacon, pineapple with ham, those kind of things. So pork, generally, smoked pork, even better, cured smoked pork, even better again. I think that you could, instead of matching this with pineapple, match it to things that pineapple traditionally goes well with. In the savoury spectre, because it's not going to really work with the dessert. But I reckon it's something that you could experiment with. Absolutely. I'm finding that the Jura chips are minimising the aromatics of this wine and bringing up a slight sort of Brazil nuttiness to it, which I think is that part of that minerality. There's a nutty kind of mealy kind of character in the wine as well. That when you kind of look underneath the pineapple-y, peary kind of note, you get a bit of that too. There's a little bit of bitterness on the finish, which I think is very refreshing, as well as that little zesty chili, the little chili tang is kind of coming on. But Kay's getting almond rather than Brazil nuts, and I think that's probably a good Australian translation. But I think just going back to Sonia's question about pineapple forward dishes, I think if you matched it to like a Mexican, now what's it called? It's pork cooked with pineapple, and it's a filling for street tacos. That would be, I think, amazing with this, a taco with slow cooked pork and pineapple. I think it could also work really well with a Thai curry that's got some pineapple or some lychees in it. Carnitas, thank you, Emily. I should have just asked you directly. I knew someone would know. Yeah, I think this would work really well with carnitas, even with a bit of chili on it. And I think it would work well with a Thai curry that had pineapple as well as some pork or some chicken or even some prawns in it. But you'd have to just be a bit careful of the spice level there. But yeah, it's a very versatile wine. It's lots and lots of fun. Oh yeah, Kay's having a Thai curry. Is it working? I'm going to eat my last bit of chicken. Excuse me, Ma. Kay, does your curry have any fruit in it? I think it would be a good curry wine. Alrighty, team. I feel like I've almost... Kay finds it hard to get anything to match the curry. No fruit. Okay, good. Excellent. Thai curry is really hard, and this brings me around to a suggestion that Dan made on the WhatsApp chat when he pulled out his Hugel Gewürztraminer, thinking it was Pinot Gris. Next Thursday is the Thursday before Easter. We have another break week next week, but we could catch up again with another grape variety. We could do Gewürztraminer next Thursday. Would be quite fun. Alternately, I was thinking we could do a cocktail, but I haven't really thought far enough ahead to think about what cocktail it might be. So could you please let me know on the emails or through the WhatsApp, if you're on the WhatsApp, if you'd like to catch up next week, and if you'd like to do Gewürztraminer, or if you'd like to have a break, or if we wanted to do maybe a cocktail. I'm trying to think of something. I think Gewürz would be pretty fun, actually, and I would probably like that better than I would probably enjoy that more than a cocktail, to be perfectly honest. And I've got the perfect thing in the wine fridge over there as well. So Fiona's becoming a convert to Gewürz. Good Gewürz is delicious. Gewürz next. Yes, excellent. All right, good. So I brought up Gewürz because a lot of people say, a lot of European and Anglo people say, Gewürztraminer is fantastic with spicy Asian food. And if you say that to anyone in Hong Kong, if you say that to anyone in, Michael, if you're still listening, you should ask any wine lovers that you are talking to in Hong Kong. If you talk to anyone in Hong Kong, anyone in Thailand, anyone in Singapore about matching Gewürztraminer to spicy Asian food, they'll laugh in your face and say, ha, 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 no, it doesn't work. I think they would be much happier to drink a Gruner Veltliner with a spicy curry than a Gewürztraminer because they think it's too flowery. Shell will have arrived in Newtown by 6 p.m. Can jump on what VT Live at any of the many local cocktail or wine bars. Oh, Shell, excellent. Chinese red wine is huge there, absolutely. Sonia's found the sherbety effect finally as the wine's warmed up. I think that's right. It does need to be a bit closer to room temperature than we usually serve it. YouTube Live, excellent, Shell, gotcha. Sorry, I'm a bit not up with the shortened versions of things. Particularly, it's been a big. I think I said before it's been a big week. I'll keep saying it's been a big week. My brain's a bit fried. But we'll do Gewürz next week. I think that'll be great. If you're looking for an Aussie Gewürz, we tasted the last weekend. We had the Pulley Gewürz. It was delicious. I highly recommend that if you can get your hands on that. Enrico and Rita, happy anniversary, 21 years, hurrah. Cheers. That's gorgeous. I'm glad that you shared your anniversary with us, Rita and Enrico. So we'll do Gewürz. If you want an Aussie one, I think the best Aussie Gewürzes are coming mostly from Tasmania, but Rob's just reminded me of the Garage East, which is delicious. It's a Skinsey Gewürz. It's pretty radical. I might see if I can grab a bottle from Barney because I think he's just released his new Gewürz. So that'd be fun. But I've got a Hugel Gewürz in the fridge, and I've got another Alsace Gewürz as well, which is a little bit fancier that I bought from our distributor the other week. So Gewürz it is. Now, Gewürztraminer will challenge us food-wise, and I'm going to think of a really traditional match. So we might be going more, it won't be schnitzel, but it might be sort of more pork knuckle kind of. We won't do pork knuckles, but there might be some bacon, there might be some egg, there might be some cheese involved. But I'll do some research in my spare time this week, and I'll send you an email on Monday about Gewürz. Happy anniversary, Rita and Enrico. Cheers to you guys. Oh, that tingle, that spicy tingle, sherbety, chili tingles happening is awesome. What a lovely wine to celebrate your Australian Gewürztraminer, Kate. I don't know much about it yet. There's a few people who are playing with it. I know that some of you are drinking it tonight. I've heard that the Lark Hill Gruner Veltliner is delicious. I don't know what the rest of you are drinking. Things from Adelaide Hills, maybe. Adelaide Hills tends to be making some pretty interesting stuff. But I think Gruner Veltliner is a really good option for Australia. But as Dan said, a lot of the Australian Gruners, people are adding a little or leaving a little bit of residual sugar, which I don't like. I don't think this grape variety needs residual sugar. It needs it. Henschke Gewürz is delicious. Absolutely, Michael. Kay's drinking the Longview Macclesfield. So is that from sort of central Victoria? Awesome. we have to keep drinking. We have to keep trying things. But I'm going to talk to Dad and Jeremy about the possibility of putting Adelaide Hills. Good. Okay, that makes sense, Kay. Yeah, I think most of the good Gruners from Australia at the moment are coming from Adelaide Hills. We might put a few trial vines in here if we can get some. Excuse me, if we can get some vines. I'd like to try it here. I think it might be a really fun grape variety for. It reminds me of Pinot Gris in the way that it changes depending on how you grow it and when you pick it. Pinot Gris works well down here, so maybe we should do some research on Gruner. It might need some more sunshine than we get here, though. That could be a problem. Anyway, lovely to see you all. Lovely off-week date night. Excellent. Schuss, as I'm trying to say. It's been awesome, guys. I'm going to love you and leave you. Get back to your lives. Have a fun rest of your evening, and we'll see you with Gewürztraminer next week. Cheers. Thanks, everyone.